Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy on the East Coast, Nate Weitzer. We are looking at game 2 of this Eastern Conference Finals. Nate, no longer will you see me put any disrespect on the Atlanta Hawks name, as they are for real. As we say, the Hawk stops here. Sorry for that pun, but we are going to get into all things game 2 here, see what the series odds look like after a surprising win from Trae Young and company. But as always, if you still need a FanDuel or a DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings and playoff promo specials available in your area. Make sure you like and subscribe to that page as well. Jump in the comments. Let us know what you guys think of game 1. Did anybody have Trae Young going off for 48? Did anybody have Chris Middleton only being limited to 15 points? Let us know if you were right. Hindsight is 2020. Nate, let's get into all things game 2 and a little bit about the series overall here.
Yeah, the game 2 line, surprisingly the exact same as game 1. Bucks minus 7.5. I see it as minus 8 at FanDuel right now. Total is 226. And as far as the series, though, after losing game 1, the Bucks go from minus 550 to minus 200 to take this series. You can get Bucks in 5 if you think they'll win all 4 at plus 425, or Bucks in 6 at plus 330. And the Bucks are no longer the favorites to win the title. They're plus 140. Phoenix is even money with Chris Paul coming back for game 3 of their series. I don't want to overreact too much to game 1, but at the same time, yes, I'm not going to dismiss the Hawks at all. This is no disrespect to say that the Bucks were emotionally exhausted after their game 7, playing at a finals level caliber with in terms of that Nets series. Clearly, we're not emotionally ready to shift gears and bring it against a Hawks team that represents a completely different type of challenge, right? Trae Young, just as unstoppable as Kevin Durant in these playoffs, but in a completely different way. And their pick and roll defense was just a disaster, just absolute story of the game. No cohesion, no cohesive plan, no execution from the personnel. Brook Lopez, invisible with 7 points and 2 rebounds, while Clint Capella grabs 19 boards. It's a combination of things, but it does come back to it is nut cutting time for Mike Budenholzer now. If you don't come out in game 2 with a better plan to stop that man, then like I've been saying, he should be fired even if they win this series. It's just an absolute coaching mismatch. Nate McMillan is doing a fantastic job. The Hawks have great pieces around Trae Young, and he's a killer, but it's just mostly about not executing how to defend him. I think the Bucks can figure that out, and I think that with Drew Holiday, taking on that challenge, saying like, all right, if you're not going to give me any help on defense, the least I can do is try to pick up my offense to match what Trae's doing. He had 33 points on 14-25 shooting. Yeah. I think if he comes anywhere near that equation, and we don't see Chris Middleton, who was on fire at home until he went 0 for 9 from deep, 6 for 23 from the field, and missed a potential game tire at the buzzer. The team goes 8 for 36 from 3. I think these things are just and the Bucks, the top rebounding team in the East, out-rebounded in game 1. It all just seems a bit too much of an anomaly for me to say, oh, I'm guaranteeing the Hawks will cover. But at plus 8, I feel absolutely comfortable that Trae and company aren't just going away like that. And teasing it up to plus 12 would certainly be a comfortable situation. I would tease that up and maybe get the total down to 222 because we have seen the Bucks' inability to stop the Hawks and nobody stopping Giannis and company on the other end.
Yeah, it's difficult to predict too much in game 2 if you consider the anomaly that was game 1, at least in comparison to our expectations and in comparison to what we've seen in the past between these two teams. We called out the Drew Holiday, Trae Young matchup heavily looking at game 1. Obviously, Trae making us look bad with 48 points, but I would argue that he didn't get those 48 on Drew Holiday. He got them on whomever was trying to guard the screen and roll as the defender of the screener. In a lot of cases, that was Giannis. And you did see him go, I don't know if I'm supposed to back up or take Trae Young away. And look, Trae Young hit 6 floaters in this game. 3 of them were just inside the paint or right outside of it. So my man was hitting, free throw level range floaters, which is not easy to do. But either way, he was continuing to get inside, dig down into the defense. And he obviously also was able to, to dish off to the tune of 11 assists in this game, just further showing, most of those came off of him screen and rolling. So to your point, it is going to be completely up to what happens on the from the coach's standpoint in terms of how many points Trae Young scores. And really, it's such a catalyst and starting point for how you really, I think, look to bet on this game, specifically from a point total. Starting with the spread, there was somewhat of a sort of vision, or at least we could at least have foreseen the Bucks maybe blowing out the Hawks early in game 1. Even if the Hawks were able to claw back in the second half like they have been, we did expect the Bucks to be able to come out and potentially blow this game out a little bit. They never once were able to get to that even above 10 points in terms of the spread of the game. The Hawks kept it close, and then in the third quarter they took over. And really, what I would say is like I said, the starting point there is how many points is Trae Young getting, and how many points is he causing by getting into the lane? And it was too many at 116. So I do think that there's no way he comes out and scores that many points. I'm by no means going to suggest that, Budenholzer and company are going to come out and be able to stop them. But I would say, what I found some success in game 1 was teasing the Hawks up and then teasing that over down as well, like you mentioned. And that was able to hit in this game. But 229 was under for the total unless you teased it, like I said. So I do think Vegas is pretty close to understanding how these two teams are playing each other. 116.5 feels like a lot for the team total for the Bucks. But that said, if you get 15 points from Middleton, who should be getting you close to 23, 25, especially at home, you've got to imagine that they've got a few more points in them. Giannis did what he does. He didn't even have to go to 40. He had 34, 12 boards and 9 assists. So I think he'll continue to be able to be essentially unstoppable going to the rim. I would consider his points again at 33.5. I would consider, honestly, the Bucks under 116.5. And then, like you said, until, the Hawks give me a reason to think that they're going to be blown out by anybody right now. 8 points is way too many. And I would seek the Hawks there taking the points.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty simple defensive adjustment for me. Just don't try to see whether Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez is a better fit for that screen man. Just bench them both. Play Giannis at the 5. Play PJ Tucker. You're not going to get killed on the boards with PJ Tucker boxing out. I mean, Clint Capella is not a low post threat. You can put Giannis on him. You can put Tucker on Collins. I think that the Bucks have the defensive adjustments in them to pull this one out at home. But yeah, just doubting Trae Young has been a terrible idea lately. I like the idea of capitalizing on the extra attention he might get and continuing to ride our guy Kevin Huerter, who just got over with 13 points in game 1. He's once again prop at 12.5 points. He's playing a huge role with Bogdanovich laboring through 27 minutes with 4 points. Huerter was a plus 15 in his 36 minutes. Shows you he's not at all a liability on defense. It might have had something to do with that Middleton struggle. But yeah, I think it's just a case where the Hawks just came out with so much more energy, personified by John Collins in particular. Yeah. And I think the Bucks are going, whether Budenholzer is able to inspire guys or not. I'm sorry to just keep harping on this guy. His post game was just very uninspiring. I think PJ Tucker, Giannis, guys are going to get in that locker room, talk about having some pride and matching that energy of the high flying Hawks. And come out and win this one at home. The question is whether you think they're going to do it by going over. Are they going to go small, pick up the pace, score a lot? Or are they going to win it by adjusting and containing Trae Young and winning a lower scoring game. Which do you think is more likely?
Yeah, I think, as we continue to see these playoffs roll on and these teams play the way that they play, I think the adjustments that are going to be made are going to actually limit scoring more in this game, honestly. So, in terms of like we talk about teasing, maybe tease that total up a bit. And tease it with the Bucks. It's still 4 points, which is what scares me. So really, I think the best play there would be the Bucks money line and parlay that with the under as well, and at least get yourself to above better than even money on that. Since it's such a large spread and their money line total right now to win, I believe, is at minus 350. But like I said, if you parlay that with just the regular under there, I would feel better about that than any of the overs. And I did want to say one more thing to your point about Trae Young, definitely getting a ton of attention. We'll see if, my suggestion, obviously, without getting too technical, is have someone like Giannis be the off-ball defender, try to avoid him being the screen, the guy guarding the screener, so he can sort of come off of his man as the third defender when Trae gets into the lane and help out with that dunker spot where Clint Capella is sitting. All of that said, it opens up things for guys like Herter. But I want to take one sec because I don't even know that we've mentioned John Collins between the two of us since these playoffs started. And my man started in a horrible shooting slump and just overall looking like he didn't want to be in the playoffs in the first couple of games against the Knicks. But since the first two games where he was horrible and they got back to Atlanta and he had a really nice showing, he's averaging 16.5 points and 10 rebounds. So right now, his prop remains at about 15.5 for his points. I like that. As I said, I think that whomever is guarding him, if he's not the screener, is going to have to come off of him. He showed the capability of hitting open threes in this last game. And then, 9.5 rebounds. So about, his averages for the playoffs right now is what you can get his props at. But I think that he's someone who's shown he's also not scared of the limelight and the stage, along with our guy Huerter. So if you're going to look to play off of Trae Young in this game and take some player props, those are my two guys. And
Trae's prop which is 43.5 points, rebounds, assists.
I like that one the most.
After he goes 66 in game one, that seems like a fair bet, even if it's at minus 125 right now. Yep. I mean, he could have close to that in just points alone, and he's barely coming off the floor with what he does.
100%. He got 11 assists, and the Hawks as a team didn't even shoot 50% from the field and only shot 25% from three. And he still managed to get 11 assists, and he also put up 7 boards because the little man is getting scrappy. He's getting in there. 43 points, rebounds, and assists I feel great about because even if he gets about 28 to 30 points in this game, you got to feel great about his ability to get assists and rebounds up to 43. So looking at little Trae, Ice Trae, like I said, neither of us will be talking any form of trash on the Hawks. They are for real, in our opinion. We'll just see how for real they are and if they can climb ahead of that 8-point spread. That is all the time that we have for today. As always, make sure you're liked and subscribed to that page. Jump in the comments. Let us know what you think is going to happen in this one. Be looking forward to seeing what you guys think. And until we see you next as these playoffs roll on, happy betting.